What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another Raw review, this time from May 17th, 1993. Let's get right into it. Live from the Manhattan Center, we get greeted by Vince McMahon, Macho Man Randy Savage, and Bobby the Brain Heenan. I haven't even realized that Rob Bartlett has been gone for a couple weeks, so hopefully that lasts. We do get to see as well Lord Alfred Hayes from last week's street fight between Shawn Michaels and Mr. Perfect. And then again, they cut to Alfred Hayes again, and he says that he saw someone. I'm paraphrasing here. He saw someone, and we are not going to believe who it is. So, a teaser for later. I have no idea who it is, so I'm interested. Got me hooked. Even though I don't understand why they just don't tell us here, well, I kind of do because of ratings. And to keep you interested. So, for our first match, the debuting Smoking Guns are finally here. And we have seen them in promo packages and video packages with Macho Man and some other stuff. Not in the ring, just doing some charity work. So we have seen them outside of vignettes. But this is the first time that we're seeing them on Raw. And they are facing off against a couple of jobbers. Taking a break outside of the match and a little bit outside of the timeline here, I guess. Billy Gunn, some would say, is in better shape in 2020 than he was in 1993. It's amazing to see this guy. Now, you can see, I'm probably going to get some people, you can say whatever you want, and he's probably on something, but I'm not even going to go there. I'm just focusing on how he looks. No homo. Pause on that one. But Billy Gunn in 2020 looks way better than he did in 1993. Crazy to think about that. So, back to the match. The Smoking Guns get the win when Billy flips over the jobber, kind of like a backdrop, and Bart catches him into a pile driver. That was a really good looking move. And the entire match, there were a ton of quick tags by the Smoking Guns, so I think that'll be their thing for a little while. Moving on, we are going to get an interview from Shawn Michaels with Vince McMahon in the ring, and not even one word in, and the crowd immediately start chanting, "Shawn is gay" again. Shawn talks about how good he is, and when he says he's going to do something, he does it. Vince calls him a reluctant champion, but Shawn says he'll defend anywhere, anytime. Then, a hooded guy gets in the ring and reveals himself to be Marty Jannety. Holy crap. Haven't seen him in a couple of months. Actually, since before the Rumble. So, a nice little surprise, at least for the time. 1993, Marty Jannety and Shawn Michaels still had this feud going. So, at the time, you were like, oh shit, it's Marty Jannety, his former tag team partner. So, yeah. He calls him out. Marty Jannety, that is, calls out Shawn and challenges him to a title match tonight. Shawn says that he can't because Marty doesn't have his ring gear, but Jannety says that he's going to go get it, and the match is set. So we'll come back to this and see if it does happen a little bit later. Up next, we have Razor Ramon versus The Kid. This would usually be a jobber match that I would skip, but this is The Kid, aka X-Pac, aka Cannonball Kid. Razor Ramon obviously dominates The Kid, but then a moonsault and a 3 count later, The Kid actually beats Razor Ramon. The biggest shock of the year. The crowd couldn't believe it. They went crazy. What a shocker. This jobber, smaller guy, beats one of the top guys in the company in Razor Ramon. They did need to calm the crowd down here after that match, and they do so by giving us Tatanka versus a jobber. And after a Samoan drop, Tatanka wins, and I think he's still undefeated. They don't say it, but I don't recall them saying he's lost either. So for us, we're going to say he's still undefeated. Then, what could possibly be the slowest match ever on paper, we have Yokozuna taking on Kamala. I'll take that back because Kamala actually does some moves that require him some agility. I don't know if you'll call it agility because it's a 20 by 20 foot ring. So if you're running from one point of the ring to the next point, that's basically only like 4 steps. But yeah, Kamala does have some agility. But that doesn't last long because Yokozuna hits the splash into the corner, then the bonsai drop for the win. Now, this match was a little bit longer than that, but that's basically what this match was leading up to. The splash in the corner into the bonsai drop for the victory. The King of the Ring pay-per-view is approaching and we still haven't seen Hulk Hogan, who is the WWF champion. And we haven't seen him since WrestleMania, which was in early April. It's been like 7 weeks already. Speaking of champions, Shawn Michaels in his impromptu title match against Marty Jannety is up next. And boy, does Jannety show off in this match. Some really good offense and some reversals by Marty early in the match. He sends Shawn to the outside and hits a crossbody to the outside. Shawn grabs the belt and looks to leave the match, but as he gets to the curtain to go backstage, out comes Mr. Perfect to stop him. So after a commercial break, Shawn is back in control after reversing a headlock takedown by dropping Marty on the ropes. Almost a stun gun, if you know what that move is. A couple of roll-ups back and forth by each other. Then Shawn Michaels hits a super kick, but again, it's not his finisher yet, so he doesn't go for the cover. Instead, he goes over to taunt Mr. Perfect. Perfect isn't having any of it and tosses his towel at him, and Marty Jannety takes advantage by getting a roll-up and picks up the win and becomes the new Intercontinental Champion. Now, this was probably one of the best episodes of Raw yet. A ton of unexpected stuff on this episode. May we be seeing the first episode to get an A grade? I don't know. Let's find out. So let's go ahead and do our awards first. Best moment? Which one should I pick? I guess I'll pick Marty Jannety interrupting Shawn Michaels and setting up the impromptu title match for later on in the show. Oh yeah, I just remember that Alfred Hayes did drop that hint early in the show at the start that he saw somebody and they were gonna make their appearance. So some good foreshadowing there. I didn't even realize until right now. For the worst moment, I guess Tatanka getting another jobber match that is the exact same thing that we've seen from him countless times. So yeah, worst moment, Tatanka getting another jobber match. For the worst match, I know this is a jobber match and I shouldn't count it, but I'm going to say it's Tatanka versus the jobber because, again, we've seen this way too many times. And now this is the worst match. The worst moment was Tatanka getting the match. And then the worst match was the actual match itself. If that makes any sense. It's my awards. I'll do whatever the hell I want with them. Best match, obviously I have Shawn Michaels and Marty Jannety for the Intercontinental Championship. The wackest performer. So for this one, I'm just going to be nitpicky here because there weren't many. I'm just going to say it was Yokozuna because why is he challenging for the belt with all this other great talent on the roster? Why is he the one to get the title shot? For the standout performer, so if this was just based on the match, I would pick Jannety, but because they did have some mic time, I'm going to have to give it to Shawn Michaels because he was on more of the show and he's just great. So for my overall grade on this episode of Raw, I'm going to give it an A. This was such a fun show to watch. Like I said, the Tatanka match was unnecessary, but it does highlight him well. If you've never seen a match of his, go ahead and watch it. He does some great chops, and the Samoan drop is a little bit wonky, but it gets the job done. The Open had Alfred Hayes with a tease for later on in the show, Smoking Guns with a decent debut and a win, two big guys in Yoko and Kamala going at it, the Kid getting a huge upset win on Razor Ramon, and the match of the night as the main event with also some continuation in the Perfect and Shawn Michaels feud. So now that we have an A episode, we need a new tally for great shows, making it 1 great, 10 good, and 6 bad. So yeah, with that being said, I'm done here. I'll catch you guys on the next review.